What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Warriors Offseason Preview Part 2. I went about almost 2 hours in Part 1. It was still a lot to talk about. Y'all still had a lot of questions, so we're going to get Part 2 going right now. And yeah, man, let's get into it, man. Make sure everything looking good. Yes, sir. Let's get into it, man. Where my folks at? First, we're going to get into free agent targets, and then after that, we're going to get into some trade targets. We're going to answer y'all questions, of course, and whatever other topics y'all bring up. What's up, Lenore? I see you, bro. First one in. Let's get it. My guy. What's up? What's up? Let me get a roll call. Everybody that's in here, say what's up. How's y'all evening/night going? Or it could be morning for some of y'all. I don't know. Let's get it, man. Lenore, how's your night going, bro? Andrew Rarden, what's up, brother? I see you. My guy, my bro, Christian, showing love, man. I see you, bro. That's my guy right there. Real life homie. How's everybody's Sunday going, man? Too much. What's up, brother? So my last video, I covered a lot of topics, a lot of different players. So for the sake of like just making this as concise as possible and covering everything, if it's a player I already talked about in my last video in part 1, I'm not gonna spend too much time on that player. Y'all just gonna have to watch part 1 if you missed it. So if y'all suggesting a topic on somebody and I don't bring it up or whatnot, it's probably because it was in part 1. So just check that out. My prediction for the finals. My prediction for the finals is OKC over the Pacers in 6 games. But I'm rooting for the Pacers. I mess with Halliburton. I think he's a dope young player. And yeah, I never root for like a what if my team's not in the running, if they're eliminated, I don't want to see another Western Conference team win. So the Pacers seem like the most likable team to root for, and then winning doesn't do anything for the Warriors. So yeah, I don't want OKC to win, and we gonna see where that series is going. I think OKC is 2-1 on the T Wolves. The T Wolves won by 40 points last game, so they bounced back. They that might be a series, but I still think OKC got that series. So we're gonna see how that play out. What do you think about picking up Mo Wagner? I think Mo Wagner is a good pickup. I just don't see why he would leave Orlando. I don't see why Orlando wouldn't want to bring him back. His brother, Franz Wagner, plays for the Magic. He's a star player for that team. So, just being on that team, he kind of gets little, I'm not going to say preferential treatment, but it's some perks for being like the brother of the star player of the franchise. So, also, that's Orlando's in Florida. They don't, thing is they don't get income tax taken out. So even if the Warriors offer the same contract as the Magic, he would be getting paid more just playing in Florida for the Orlando Magic. And I don't think the Warriors want to get into a bidding war for Mo Wagner. He's a good player, he's a he's a good big man, but I wouldn't really get into a bidding war for Mo Wagner. I think there's better options out there. What teams are more likely to trade with us? Seems like teams sometimes tax the Warriors just because they were a dynasty. Yeah, man, that's how it goes, bro. When you're dominant, teams ain't trying to be that team that got duped by the Warriors and extended like their run. So it's a lot like whenever the Warriors are talking to certain teams, probably most teams about a player, ain't nobody trying to help the Warriors, man. Nobody has no sympathy for the Warriors players getting older and a dynasty window closing. Teams don't care about that. They love it. They want the dynasty to end. They ain't trying to see Steph Curry terrorizing the league no more, bro. So it ain't gonna be too many like teams lining up to like help the Warriors and extend their run. So there might be a little bit of a tax baked into every trade the Warriors make. It is what it is, man. So we'll see. Yo, Jeffrey, what's up, bro? And Crit. Did I say that right? And Crit Verma. What's up, bro? Where you from, man? That's an interesting name. Is that European? But yeah, man, I think somebody mentioned Derek White. Andrew mentioned Derek White. Yeah, Derek White would be like outside of like acquiring an all-star player, Derek White would be like a dream scenario. Derek White is basically Pods on steroids. Like he's everything Pods upsided as a player, but actualized in actual like production on the court. He's an elite defender. What is he like a 6'5" guard? Similar measurements as Pods, but he has more length. He has a longer. I don't know what his wingspan is exactly, but if I had to guess, I would say he has like a 6'8", 6'9" wingspan. He has long arms. He's a 40% three-point shooter. Three-point shooting used to be a weakness of his, but over the past like 2 or 3 seasons, he's really improved in that area. So now he's like a legit threat. You can't leave him. He's a very versatile three-point shooter. He's a good secondary playmaker. He can run some backup PG for you. He can run some pick and rolls. He can get guys involved. He's a really solid player. And if you put him next to Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler, it would be the perfect pairing because he can guard the best perimeter threat on the opposing team, and he can also play a complementary role offensively as a floor spacer, somebody who can attack closeouts, attack advantages, get to the rim. He can do a little bit of everything, to be honest with you. He could guard up. He can guard two. He could guard 1 through 3 comfortably, and he could guard some power forwards depending on the matchup. So he's a very versatile player. He's surprisingly a good rim protector for a guard. He can like protect the rim and get blocks. So he's a very unique player, and I think he's only 29 years old. So this is like his prime right now that he's in. The only thing is he just recently signed his contract that he's on right now. So I think his contract goes out another 3 years, and he's getting paid like what, 30 mil, which by the way is a bargain. I don't think that's an overpay like at all. Derek White's a really good player. He's an elite role player. If you can he's as good of a role player as you can be without being like in that all-star category, the all-star conversation. So if the Warriors could somehow finesse Derek White, I know the Warriors need a big man, but that archetype of player that could do a little bit of everything, who's a combo guard, who can guard up, he's tough, he can spread the floor, attack closeouts. It's a really tough player to get a hold of. So the fact that they would be getting him while he's in his prime, and with plenty left to give for multiple years out, that would be a great pickup. I just don't think. So the Celtics have an interesting offseason because they have the most expensive team in like NBA history. Their payroll is off the charts. It's about to balloon even more next season. They're paying Tatum. Tatum's on a supermax. Jaylen Brown's on a supermax. They paying Porzingis. I don't know how much he's getting paid exactly. I think it's like 25 mil or more. Then they're paying, who else are they paying? They're paying Drew Holiday. They're paying Derek White $30 million. So they literally can't keep their team together. They have to trade players away. And Jason Tatum tearing his Achilles basically just accelerated that decision-making process. So they're definitely going to ship off some players. They might not get as much value, because they're losing a little bit of leverage. Teams know they got to make some trades, but I don't think that loss of leverage is enough to just finesse Derek White. I don't think the Warriors are going to get him. I don't think the Celtics are going to trade him to just anybody. They're gonna hold out for the best possible trade proposal, and the Warriors would have to overpay because there's other teams that can outbid them. Derek White will look good on a lot of different teams. A lot of different teams. Every team can use a Derek White. So if Derek White was available, it's not like, oh, Warriors, all right, Derek White's available, go trade for him. They got to outbid other teams. And the Warriors get into a bidding war for a role player and just kind of just vaporizing like your war chest of assets. That's not necessarily the route that would be like the best case scenario. You don't want to blow your load on a role player. Pause. You kind of want to keep a little ammo just in case a star player or a superstar player becomes available. Giannis, KD possibly. So you don't want to trade all this stuff for Derek White and then like a month later, oh, Giannis is available. And then it's like, all right, Warriors, what you got to trade for Giannis? You ain't got nothing. You just trade everything for Derek White. So you got to be careful with that. In terms of what I'll be willing to give up for Derek White, though, assuming the Celtics are negotiating like fairly and not trying to pull a fast one. I mean, basically any of the young players. I'm not multiple young players, but like any of the young players, and then a first round pick, and maybe other additional lower assets attached. So if the Celtics were like, yo, it's tough because Derek White makes 30 mil. So it's not like you can just be like, you can't just trade like pods for Derek White straight up and attach a first round pick. Pods is on his rookie contract. He's getting paid under $5 million. You got to put some matching salary in there. But if they were like, yo, give us Kuminga. We'll give us Kuminga. And if they said Kuminga and a first round pick and like some other stuff like fillers, sign and trade Kuminga, I'm not really sure how that would work with the contracts. But that would be something I would be interested in. I would trade any of the young players 1-for-1 for Derek White plus a first round pick, to be honest with you. Kuminga plus a first, Paz plus a first, any of them can go. Let's see what y'all talking about in here, man. Oh, you're from San Diego, Andrique? Okay. Okay, bro. That's what's up, man. Derek White is not possible to get. Yeah, that's basically what I'm implying. It's the Celtics aren't going to trade him, and if they were willing to trade him, they're going to want a haul that the Warriors might not be able to compete with. Pacers are smacking the Knicks, looking like they might go up 3-0 in the series. I wonder if the Pacers will let some of their guys go, like Nesmith. The Pacers aren't going to let none of their key contributors go. When teams are like starting to like elevate and reach newer heights as a young team, they're not going to just let key players walk away. Nesmith is their starting small forward, 3-and-D wing. He's really showing that he's like a premier 3-and-D wing. And he's only 26. They're not letting him go. That's like if they let Nesmith walk, they would immediately have to find another Nesmith, another 3-and-D wing to fill that spot. So when people mention Miles Turner, people are like, oh, let's go get Miles Turner. He's a perfect fit. Why would the Pacers let Miles Turner walk? If they let Miles Turner walk, they immediately have to then look for a Miles Turner, because Pascal Siakam's a slashing power forward. You need a floor spacer next to him. You need a rim protector next to him. Miles Turner is both of those in one player, in one center build. That's an extremely rare archetype. So when people mention names, you got to think, why would that team let that player walk for nothing? The Pacers didn't give Miles Turner an extension because they're pretty confident if it got to free agency, they can see what other teams are kind of in the ballpark to offer him. They'll just match it. You know what I'm saying? So and especially now that they look like they're about to go to the finals. Do you think they're gonna let any of their key players walk? like a young up and coming team that's about to go to the finals. They're about to just be like, all right, we don't want to pay Miles Turner, or we'll trade Neesmith. Like for what? It doesn't make any sense. They're gonna keep their core contributors and they're gonna try to add to it. Karn, what's up, bro? Sorry to ask, but should Dre stay? I mean, what's the alternative? You're not getting any value for Draymond in a trade. The Warriors try to shop Draymond. It might possibly be some teams interested, like some very specific teams. Like maybe the Lakers are interested because their defense is Swiss cheese. Their defense is trash. They might be interested in Draymond, but again, even if a team is interested, none of these teams are giving you anything valuable. What the Draymond Green, I've said this before multiple times. Draymond will only be this valuable to the Warriors. He's like to any other team. All they see is a soon to be 36-year-old vet that can't score, can't contribute offensively. Essentially, needs the ball in his hands to make plays, and he's a Steph merchant. That's what teams see. They like he's a Steph merchant. He's only playable offensively because he has the synergy with Steph, the two-man game. What happens when Steph's not in the equation? Well, we saw that in the last 4 games of the Timberwolves series. Draymond with no Steph. It was rough. Wasn't great. His offensive impact dwindled to nothing. It was just hard to fit him, man. It's like Steph covers up so much that people don't see. Just the fact that the Warriors can still play Draymond at power forward, just a non-threat. Every other team in the league has a scoring, either a shooting power forward or a power forward, or they're going two bigs, and that power forward can do other stuff offensively. They can offensive rebound. They're an athletic vertical threat, something where they contribute offensively. Draymond does not contribute much offensively besides his playmaking, specifically to Steph. So the Warriors ain't getting nothing for him. So it's no point trading him just to get nothing back or very little back. You're not getting no first round pick. You might get like a protected second or a few seconds or something. It's just something that's so not even worth it. It's just, what's the point of even trading him? Because for the Warriors, I mean, Draymond just made all defense first team. To have a player that's an all defensive level first team player who arguably should have been a decoy. His defensive stats next to Evan Mobley, Draymond was a better defensive player this year. Straight up, just flat out, he was just straight up better. They gave it to Evan Mobley. It is what it is. But that just goes to show that Draymond's still valuable. You know what I'm saying? But other teams aren't about to be lining up to take on his contract. He's getting paid $25 million the next few seasons. Teams aren't about to line up to take that on. The only way Draymond is getting traded is if his salary is included in a salary filler for a bigger trade for a star. So unless a player that makes more money than him is a trade target that the Warriors need to bring in and match salary, and Steph gives his blessing, that's another thing. You have to get Steph's blessing to trade Draymond. I don't see that happening. The only way Steph is given a blessing to trade Draymond is if it's something that you just can't say no to, like Giannis. If Giannis is on the table and Giannis calls up Steph, he's like, yo, I'm trying to come to Golden State. Like, let's make it happen. At that point, Steph will probably give his blessing, like, all right, Draymond, it's been real, brother, but that's Giannis. But other than that, if you're talking about just trading Draymond just to like make a trade and just bring back like some other like low end vets, it's not, bro. Steph's gonna be like, bro, I'm rocking with Draymond. Like, it's not happening. All right, let's get into some of these other trade scenarios and other topics y'all talking about here. It's hard to finesse the Celtics. They were able to turn Marcus Smart into 2 firsts and Porzingis. Yeah, man. Brad Stevens is a really good executive, bro. You're not about to finesse Brad Stevens. Would I sign DeAnthony Melton? Absolutely. DeAnthony Melton for the vest minimum. Let's run it back, bro. Hopefully, there's no hard feelings. And I think the Warriors will pursue DeAnthony Melton. I think they're going to have their pitch lined up. They're going to be like, yo, DeAnthony, hear us out. Hear us out. Look, I know we traded you. That's true, we did. But looking at it from our perspective, you wasn't going to play the rest of the season anyways. You were going to be a free agent at the end of the season anyways. So you were always going to have to evaluate your options at end of the season. You only played three regular season games before you got injured, so it wasn't like it was like this huge track record of a partnership. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully it's no hard feelings, and they can pitch the fact that, look, we understand you're rehabbing this ACL injury. What better way to rebuild your value than playing next to Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler? You're going to get all the open threes in the world. We know you were watching the playoffs. You saw how many of these dudes on our team wasn't hitting threes, all these role players. That could be you getting those threes. That could be you in that position where GP2 is. That could be you in that position catching that wide open with your feet set in the corner three in the playoffs from Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler. That's you. So they got to kind of pitch it to where, look, you're rebuilding your value here. You're gonna have the easiest job ever offensively, just playing off the advantages of Steph and Jimmy Butler. Defensively, we're gonna lean on you to be one of our go-to point of attack defenders. You're gonna have all this defensive responsibility. You're gonna have the perfect opportunity to rebuild your value. And then next season, hey, if you want to chase that bag after rebuilding your value with us, and you got to move on, hey, let's go do what you got to do. But for this season, it's a beneficial partnership for both sides. It's mutually beneficial. If you come rock with us for this season, we'll bring you along slowly. If you need some time with that injury, it's not a problem. We got a great medical team, and hey, yeah, you're playing for the vets minimum this year, but you're probably not gonna have, if our research is correct, you're probably not gonna have too many other offers higher than that, due to the fact that you just got injured this season, and the season before that, the only reason we were able to afford you was because you got injured. You injured your back. And that kind of slashed your value on the market. So now you got back-to-back serious injuries. Hey, it's not going to be as many teams willing to take a chance on you. You might want to come running back with us. We know you've already had a taste of playing next to Steph Curry. You've already seen how easy that can make your life, and you already know that we're very willing to make you the starter. We started you the games that you was here. So there's, like, in terms of politics, there's no burying you behind like undeserving players. No, if you win that spot and you're performing, you're gonna be in the starting lineup. It's the perfect opportunity to rebuild your value. And hey, you might win a championship. We got a really good team. We're offering you an opportunity at a starting job. We're offering you an opportunity to play next to two stars that draws a lot of attention, between Steph Curry getting triple teamed and Jimmy Butler, when he's playing like playoff Jimmy, drawing doubles. You're going to have so much opportunity, and you just might win a championship in the process. So that's the pitch. I just had to put my little salesman little hat on right there. But that, if I was the Warriors, that's how I would pitch Melton. I would have all those little points ready to go. First day of free agency, I'm hitting up Melton. I'm like, look, this is what we can give you. So if he still feels a little salty or a certain type of way about how the season ended, about being traded, there's nothing you can do about that. Like, at the end of the day, you can't control how that man reacts or feels about being traded, because everybody's different. He might just say, I don't care about the circumstances, F y'all. And if that's the case, then it is what it is. Regardless, the Golden Child said, regardless of how this offseason goes, if Steve Kerr uses 3-guard lineups next season, I'm going to lose my S. Yeah, man. I mean, look, here's the thing. Steve Kerr is always going to use 3-guard lineups. It's kind of just who he is. He likes having the extra playmaking, the extra IQ, the extra, the extra, all the things, all the attributes he looks for in lineups. They're more commonly found in guards versus big men. Who's more likely to be a better passer or be able to play within a complicated offensive scheme, a guard or a big man? And since the Warriors don't have assets to get high-end big men and just sign them and pay them, the big men that they bring in are usually like lower end free agents or trading for like lower caliber like filler players. Those big men are more than likely not gonna have like the b-ball IQ to make some of the lineups he wants to run work. So Steve Kerr is willing to sacrifice size and length in lineups in order to get the extra playmaking or the extra shooting that he wants to run his stuff. Now, does he lean too far into 3-guard lineups at times? Absolutely. He drives me crazy, man. Is sometimes he goes to 3-guard lineups when he doesn't have to. There's lineups where it's like, all right, you got 3 guards on the court, but you got Guy Santos on a bench. He's a 6'8" wing. He could run the offense. He's a pretty smart complementary secondary like ball mover. He gives you the size. He can hit an open three. He's also giving you hustle. Like it's times where it's like, all right, Steve, do we need to go to the 3-guard lineup? Like, come on, bro. But that's who he is, and it's just a coaching flaw that we just unfortunately got to deal with, man. Darth Vader says, sign Brook Lopez. I already talked about Brook Lopez in my part 2 to the Warriors offseason preview. So if y'all want to hear more about Brook Lopez, just check out part 1. It's my last live stream. But just to answer it real quickly, yes, I would sign Brook Lopez if I could. The Warriors it's already been rumored that the Warriors are interested in Brook Lopez. So they're definitely going to be in the mix. I think Brook Lopez next to Draymond would be great. He's a 7-foot floor spacing center. Also defensively, he might not be as good defensively as he used to be a few years ago, but he still has the IQ. He still knows where to go. You could put him in any defensive scheme except for drop. You can't put Brook Lopez in drop coverage. He'll get flamed. But that's most big men. You can't put most big men in drop coverage. But Brook Lopez next to Draymond defensively and Jimmy Butler would be disgusting. He would be, because he's huge. He's like 7 foot, 7'1". He's one of the best verticality rim deterrents in the league in terms of just going straight up, not not jumping forward and fouling, just forcing teams to finish over his length. Defensively, he would be great next to Draymond, because Draymond's doing the backline stuff, covering up stuff, doing all the rotations, cleaning stuff up behind him, and he's just a big presence at the rim defensively, just being big and forcing teams to finish over him, which is something the Warriors don't have. They don't have this big dude that teams have to finish over. They got Quinton Post, but Quinton Post doesn't have the defensive instincts of a Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez, way more in terms of defense and defensive IQ. I mean, he's been in the league 16, 17 years. He's a pretty smart defender. So I think Brook Lopez will be a great addition, because then he's giving you that defensively, and then also he can hit an open three. Not only an open three, he can shoot a foot or two outside, like past the 3-point line. For those of y'all that catches Milwaukee games, probably not. I mean, Milwaukee games, but Brook Lopez he's a legit 3-point shooter. Like he can pull up a foot behind the line. That's extra dimensions to the offense when your center can pull up a foot behind the line. So the only weakness for Brook Lopez really is like he's not a good rebounder. He's never been a good rebounder. I think at his peak, when he was like in his physical prime with the Brooklyn Nets, he'll give you like 7 rebounds a game, maybe 8, maybe. These days he's probably giving you like 5 rebounds, like maybe 6 rebounds. He's not really out there grabbing boards, but he does box out, and he does like allow other teammates to grab the board. So that's not like the biggest concern. It's not like he's just out there not boxing out and getting like bullied. He just doesn't go grab it himself. He just boxes out and kind of allows his team to get it. But yeah, let's see. Berserk said Milton's coming off a torn ACL, though. We have no idea how that's going to affect his lateral movement and whatnot. I mean, it's a veteran minimum contract. That's besides giving somebody a non-guaranteed or like a 2-way contract, a veteran minimum contract is so. There's no downside. If his lateral quickness is worse, you only give him a veteran's minimum. But if he's still good, then you got him on a veteran's minimum. It's a bargain. There's really no downside. If he's not good anymore, you just bench him. You know what I'm saying? But at the very least, even if his defense is kind of cooked, his lateral quickness is kind of cooked, he still has the instincts. He's still a good defender in the passing lanes, getting steals, anticipating plays, um, making plays at the rim. He's good at stripping drivers as they're going up for layups. He's good at getting those sneaky little blocks. He's good at poking balls away from the back, making plays as a rear view contester. He can do if his lateral quickness is compromised because of his ACL, that's unfortunate, but he will still be able to contribute in so many other ways that him on a veteran minimum is still a bargain. It's still worthy of offering him that, because at the very least, you know he's a good 3-point shooter, so you can put him out there offensively. He can space the floor. You know he's a good complementary ball mover. He can make the extra pass. The Warriors was experimenting with him as a backup point guard. Like he would come in he would be the starter. Then they'll sub out Steph. This is in preseason. They'll have him come back in and run the offense as a backup point guard. And he looked solid. He was making the right plays. He wasn't doing anything too flashy. He wasn't making any risky passes. So you're getting a guy on a veteran's minimum, which is like $3 million, who could run backup point guard for you, could run your offense. When I say run your offense, I don't mean like he's out there dropping dimes like Tyrese Halliburton, but he can walk the ball up. He can get you into your sets. You know, he can call the plays. He can get you set up, and he's not gonna just make some dumb passes. Like he knows how to get the ball safely where it needs to be. He's a 3-point shooter. Defensively, he's a playmaker. You brought in Jimmy Butler, who's a playmaker. Now you're adding Melton, who's also a playmaker defensively. So now you got two sharks. So I don't see a downside. If he comes back and he just looks shaky, all right, you bring him along slowly, and then you just hope, by the second half of the season, after his body he's more removed from the ACL injury, he's gonna look a little better. Somebody said, what about Bruce Brown Jr.? I think Bruce Brown Jr. is a good player, but he can't shoot. He's not a strong 3-point shooter, so I don't necessarily want to add another dude that's going to be playing hot potato on the perimeter. You got Jimmy, you got Draymond, who both be doing a hot potato, don't want to shoot. And even if they do shoot it, not the best shooters. So Bruce Brown is another dude. He's good enough to get on the court because he could play defense. He could do what he needs to do. But then you got another dude out there. He's getting minutes next to Jimmy Butler. He's getting minutes next to Draymond, and he can't shoot either. So it's just kind of the things he brings, the perimeter defense and all that good stuff, is not. I would prefer somebody that can shoot. So if Bruce Brown was available for the right price, I'll make the trade just because. Why not? He's a good player. He could play defense. He could theoretically fit into your system. But I'm just, after seeing what I'm seeing with all these teams, just daring the Warriors, anybody but Steph defense, daring dudes to shoot, and dudes playing hot potato. I'm just tired of seeing it, man. So, but yeah, Michael Porter Jr. So Michael Porter Jr. Right now, his value is at an all-time low. With the Nuggets, he's extremely overpaid. I believe he's getting paid. Let me check something out real quick. So next year, Michael Porter Jr. is getting paid. He's owed $38 million. The season after that, he's owed $40 million. Whew, that's a lot. It's a lot of money for Michael Porter Jr. But if you watched him. Now, I will say this. This playoffs, obviously, he wasn't great. He was terrible. Excuse me. He was terrible, but I think he's also playing through like a pretty bad shoulder injury, and he's just trying to be available for the team. But his offense is cooked. You're trying to shoot with a jacked up shoulder, you're cooked. So I will have that in the back of my mind when I'm deciding whether that's a player to go for. But at the same time, he was injured and he's always injured. It's like same story, different season. It's always something. It's either the lower back stuff he's dealing with. He had a surgery to repair his back, his vertebrae or something. Some crazy procedure, man. He was like red flagged literally like in the draft. Like that's why he dropped. I think he was like a lottery pick. He was supposed to be a high lottery pick, and he got flagged because of his medicals, and he dropped to Nuggets. And it looked good. He played. His body held up enough for him to like look good and get his contract, but hasn't looked great. Paying Michael Porter Jr. $38 million, and the dude's always injured. It's tough, man, because you gotta, first of all, to make salaries work, you probably gotta trade Draymond. How are you scraping together $38 million in matching salary without including Jimmy Butler or Draymond? I don't really see how that's a thing. You can sign and trade Kuminga, but the what's the max Kuminga's gonna get? What, 25, maybe 30? And I think, if I'm not mistaken, only half of what he signs for counts as outgoing salary in a sign and trade. So let's say Kuminga signs for $30 million for the sign and trade. His outgoing salary, matching salary, only counts as 15. So the Warriors would still be short like a lot of money to make those salaries work. So you could say, oh, let's sign and trade Kuminga. You could throw in Buddy Hield's $8 million contract. That's only like $23 million in outgoing money because of like the rules with the sign and trade. So then you gotta try to scrape together more money. It's too hard to make the salaries work unless you're trading Draymond. And I wouldn't trade Draymond for Michael Porter Jr. straight up. It's not happening. Draymond has his flaws, bro, but at the very least, man, at least he's gonna be available. He's gonna be there to give you something. Michael Porter Jr. Bro, Russell Westbrook was a better player for the Nuggets than Michael Porter Jr. was in the playoffs. Like that's how bad he was. Like, I mean, yeah, the injury is the thing, but it's just like, come on, bro. And then he didn't have a great playoffs last season either. So that's two seasons in a row. So I'm cool off Michael Porter Jr., bro. It's too much risk right there, man. It's too much. It's too much. It's too risky. And it's just like, why would you trade for Michael Porter Jr.? You can go get Cam Johnson, who makes half his contract. Michael Porter Jr. is getting paid 38. Cam Johnson is getting paid 22. And Cam Johnson's contract it decreases every season. He's getting paid 22 now or next season. It goes down to 20 the season after that, and then like 18 after that. So as Cam Johnson gets older, his contract gets lower, and the salary cap overall in the league is increasing. So he's less and less a percentage of the overall salary cap, which is why the Nets are so stingy with who they trade him to, because they know he's on a great contract. Cam Johnson's on an amazing contract now and going forward. So they're taxing. Any team that wants him, like, they're taxing. Because they're just like, look, I know we're tanking, but we'll just keep him. Like, he's on a good contract. He's a 6'8" floor spacer. He's a good vet for us. You know, like, he makes he's good for development for our younger players because he's a front court floor spacer. And he's on a great contract. It's like he's only 28 years old. So they're like, yo, if y'all don't give us if y'all don't give us a trade scenario we like, we're just gonna keep him. We're literally gonna keep him. He's not gonna prevent us from like being like tanking. We're still gonna be ass whether he's there or not. So if y'all don't like pay up with the trade proposals, we're just gonna keep him. All right. We need to pick up Nikolai Alexander-Walker off the Wolves team. What's up, King Corey? As I mentioned earlier, Nikolai Alexander-Walker is a key cog for the T-Wolves. They only run an 8-man rotation. The 3 players off the bench they play is Conley, Naz Reid, and Nikolai Alexander-Walker. He's a key piece of any team that's like a playoff, like a contender or believes they're a contender. They're not going to just let key pieces walk or get poached if they can help it. Like, anything the Warriors offer Nikolai Alexander-Walker, the T-Wolves could just match the contract. And at that point, I don't see why Nikolai, is he a free agent or would that be a trade situation? I think he's a free agent. I just don't see why Alexander-Walker would rather play for the Warriors than the T-Wolves, where he has a guaranteed spot in the rotation. He's playing heavy minutes. They need him. They rely on him, and he's comfortable there. He's been there for, 3 seasons already? So, but with that being said, Alexander Walker would be a good pickup. I would like that pickup. Combo guard with size, 6'6", combo guard, dribble pass, shoot guy, play defense. Super solid, man. He's a super solid player. He's an archetype of player that the Warriors can always use. He could run back up PG for you. He can hit some shots. He could play some defense. He has some length. He'd be solid. But again, if the T-Wolves let him walk, they would immediately have to find a player that's his exact same archetype to replace him. So it doesn't make any sense to let him walk. Aha said, remember how that white dude got hurt and then Dre got promoted to his position and then took the starting job? That needs to happen. Someone needs to take Dre's spot. You're talking about David Lee. Yeah, when Dre was a rookie, when Draymond was a rookie, or was it his second year? I can't even remember. I think his rookie season. Draymond, so David Lee was the Warriors vet. He was their starting power forward. He was a throwback player. They don't even make. He didn't. There's not even like players like him really in terms of just like a strictly like post up power forward that can't shoot and is just like a post player. It's like players like Zach Randolph, like David West. David Lee was like one of those type of like players, like post up player, barbecue chicken on defense, good rebounder, good post player, decent passer. That was the Warriors. That was the Warriors starting power forward. The Warriors were so cheeks back then. He was like one of their best players. Him and Monta Ellis were like one of their two best players, and they were like starving for like all-star talent, man. And David Lee, I think he finally squeaked in an all-star appearance, and that's what the Warriors are celebrating. David Lee, he was not even like a real all-star. He squeaked in one year, and it was like the best thing in the Bay at the time. So David Lee got injured, and then Draymond filled in for him and started for him. I think the Warriors, I forgot the run they went on. I think they were like 6-1 or 6-0 or something since that change. And then David Lee, Steve Kerr told David Lee like, "Yo, bro, tough luck. Like we rocking with the young dude. We're looking good. Like this lineup is working. You're just gonna have to come off the bench." So that's what happens, and Draymond's been a starter ever since. David Lee never got his spot back. You said that needs to happen again. Yeah, it does. It does need to happen again. The Warriors desperately need one of these young dudes to take Draymond's spot and push Draymond. If Draymond would be best, the best case scenario is for Draymond to be off the bench. The best case scenario, but with that being said, it has to be because he got his spot took by someone who's better than him. You're not going to just bench Draymond just to bench Draymond and the dude that's in his spot is ass. Like, you can't do that. The dude that's replacing Draymond has to still take his spot and deserve it. Because Kuminga can get a bucket. Kuminga has some talent offensively, but he's not a better player than Draymond. For some people, it might be like hard to fathom that. He's like, what do you mean? Like, Kuminga's like, he can get 20 points per game if you give him a starting job in his sleep. Like, he's better than Draymond. No, he's not. He's not better than Draymond. Like, yeah, Draymond can't score, but Draymond's impact on a winning team, impacting your pursuit of a championship, he's still a more valuable player to this Warriors team. So, and especially now that the Warriors got Jimmy Butler, who basically does everything Kuminga does, but better and more polished and more refined, it makes his value to the Warriors even less. So the Warriors need Draymond. What Draymond brings more than what Kuminga brings. So the ideal situation would have been for Kuminga to take Draymond's spot like 2 years ago, when Kuminga was coming in, like his first 2 seasons. Okay, he's still learning under the vet, whatever. But after like the 2022 championship, you would hope that in that year, like year 3 or whatever, Kuminga just started to blossom, and it got to the point where he was undeniable for the starting spot. Like you had to put him in that lineup. But Kuminga's not good enough of a 3-point shooter to play him at the small forward next to Draymond at the power forward, and Kuminga's not better than Draymond to take his spot outright. So unless you slide Draymond to the 5 and play Kuminga at the 4, you can't really fit them both in there. But the problem is now you got 6'6", 35-year-old Draymond playing center every night, and Kuminga doesn't have the big men. He doesn't do enough big man stuff in terms of like cleaning up the boards and boxing out and offering rim protection and rim deterrence to make up for the fact that now you got Draymond at center banging against giants, and in Kuminga he doesn't have the instincts of a big man to do big man stuff. I think Draymond speaked on it before. Draymond was kind of, I forgot if it was like in a post game presser or something, but he was like playing, like he said, but the power forward position is like a legit position. Some people over the years have kind of just like overlooked the position in terms of its value and just kind of looks at it as like this secondary position. It's like, oh, if you have like this extra wing, you could just throw him at the power forward, or if you have this extra big, you just throw him at the power forward. It's like this afterthought position. But Draymond was like, no, every position requires his own skill set requirement to play that position. And he was kind of like he was basically talking about Kuminga. He was saying in order to play the power forward position, you have to recognize where you need to be on the court in terms of like spacing the floor, not getting in the way, not clogging up the lanes, knowing when to cut baseline and get out the way and kind of like keep the floor space. Also, you got to be able to box out. You have to be able to do some big man stuff. Like you're not just out there in this secondary position just chilling. Like you got to do some big man stuff. You got to rebound. You got to box out. If your starting power forward can't rebound, now you got to get that production from somewhere else. So now you're asking like your guards to just play above their size and rebound to cover up for them. Now you're asking the center to just take on even more of a rebounding role. And if he's not capable of that, then you're just gonna get out rebounded. So the power forward position, as Draymond says, like bro, you need a certain skill set to play that position. And he was basically talking about Kuminga. He basically was implying Kuminga don't got that skill set to play power forward full time if the other positions aren't optimized and whatnot, you know. So, but yeah. Draymond's offensive liabilities is worse than Kuminga's defensive liabilities. Here's the thing, bro. Draymond knows who he is, and he knows what he's not. Kuminga he's still trying to explore himself offensively. So you're comparing like a young dude who's trying to get paid, who has an agenda, whether we want to admit it or not, and Kuminga will never admit it. His team will never admit it. He has an agenda. He's trying to get paid, rightfully so. If I was a young dude and I'm the breadwinner for my family, and I'm from like a country like the Congo, I'm trying to get paid. I'm trying to put on for my family. I'm trying to be in that position to maximize my money. So I get it. And in Kuminga's mind, the best way for him to do that is to score a lot of points, be this big time supreme scorer, this big time scoring wing. That's how Kuminga sees it. He doesn't see the fact that if you do like all the stuff, like for example, Aaron Gordon on the Nuggets, all the stuff Aaron Gordon does, the rebounding, like the being the outlet on the pick and roll, applying pressure to the rim as a play finisher, not necessarily always with the ball in his hands, as a playmaker, playing off of Jokic's greatness and picking his spots. Attacking mismatches with his size. Using your size doesn't have to just be, oh, I'm bigger than this dude, I'm just gonna camp in the paint and call for the post up, and I'm gonna attack this dude in the post up, and I'm not gonna pass out. I'm getting mine up. I got a mismatch. No. Taking advantage of your size is also, if you got a small dude on you, attack the offensive rebound. He can't box you out. You're bigger than this dude. He can't box you out. Go get the offensive rebound. What Aaron Gordon does that's very valuable, when he has a small dude on him, he's like, oh yeah. He positions himself, and as soon as the ball goes up, he's just relentless. He's going for that offensive rebound. The smaller dude has no chance to muscle him or box him out, because Aaron Gordon's 6'8", like 240, one of the best athletes in the league. Like, it's hard to keep him off the boards as a smaller dude. Like, with Kuminga, you got similar measurements. You're 6'7", you're 225, you're a top 1% athlete. When teams put like smaller dudes on you, your mindset doesn't always have to be, all right, let me just call for it in the post. Even though Steph Curry's trying to run a pick and roll, let me call for it in the post, and let me attack this mismatch. And I'm not passing no matter what. I got to get mine. You can just say, okay, Steph has the ball. He's doing his thing. I got the small dude on me. I'm going to position myself. In the moment that ball goes up, this little dude can't keep me off the boards. I'm getting this ball. And if you get the ball, hey, you're right there at the rim for a putback. You're right there at the rim to kick it out. And then your effort won't go unnoticed. Now the team just might call the next play for you. If you go up for it, get the offensive rebound, kick out, they might just like, Steph might just be like, all right, yo, set up, get in the post. Let's get you in the post. He'll give it right back to you. But sometimes with Kuminga, like, I'm going to say the word thirsty because he is thirsty at times. When you see a perceived mismatch, he ain't passing, bro. Like, he's not passing the ball. He's getting it up. It was a play against the T-Wolves. He had Dante DiVincenzo on him. And in Kuminga's mind, I mean, obviously that's his former teammate too. But in his mind, he's like, oh, that's a mismatch. Dante's like 6'3", 6'4", that's a mismatch. Give me the ball. GP2 was cutting down the rim, cutting down the lane. Wide open cutter. Kuminga looked at him, decided not to make the obvious pass because he wanted to take Dante. So he backed down Dante, didn't really back him down. Dante held up pretty well. And then Dante forced him into a bad shot. Kuminga threw up like I don't know what it was. It was like a bad shot though. And that's the situation where Steve Kerr's looking at you. He's like, bro, you just purposely miss a wide open cutter so you can take this perceived mismatch against a player that, yeah, he's smaller than you, but he's a good defender. He's feisty. He ain't no punk. And it's plays like that where it's like you gotta kind of read the room a little better and understand the nuances and in a situation. Situational awareness. Draymond's probably the best in terms of if comparing situational awareness and what's asked of you, what needs to be done. Draymond has that down, bro. Draymond knows his limitations, and Draymond knows other ways to be effective. Kuminga doesn't know that. In Kuminga's mind, he could do everything offensively, so he doesn't have the awareness to be like, okay, you know what? Maybe this isn't a mismatch. Let me run something with Steph on the side over here. Let me back it out of this post. Run a little something with Steph, a little two-man game, and then use his gravity to get me downhill for a shot at the rim. Draymond knows, he knows, and it's like those things that go unseen, that don't show up in a stat sheet, where it's easy for somebody to say, oh, well, Kuminga is a better offensive player than Draymond, and then they try to do like A plus B or 1 + 2 = 3, like science, to try to explain why, oh, Kuminga's better than Draymond. He's not better than Draymond. He's not. It's the stuff that goes unseen, man. It's the Draymond is an elite role player, bro. Draymond's not a star player anymore. I do believe Draymond was an all-star back in his prime, back in like the 2016 run. But ever since then, he's fallen off. I don't think he's a star player anymore. But he's an elite role player. Kuminga's not an elite role player, and he's not a star. There's just no way you can convince me that, as from what we've seen up to this point, that Kuminga's a better player than Draymond. He's not. Now, going forward, every year going forward, that gap closes. As Kuminga gets older, as his game gets more refined, he gets more experience, more game time experience, and Draymond gets older. I mean, Draymond's about to be 36 years old. As the years go on, it's not going to always be the case. It might not even be the case next season. For all we know, next season, Kuminga takes a leap, Draymond regresses, and then Kuminga's better than Draymond. That could very well be the case next season. But from what we've seen this season, there's no way in hell Kuminga's a better player than Draymond. He's a better scorer, but that doesn't mean you're a more impactful basketball player. So we can't just look at things in just the scope of like, oh, scorer, he's a better scorer, so therefore he's a better player. You got to, like, nah. Let me see. Man, we cannot win anymore with Draymond being a starter, bro. This ain't a JK or Dre thing. It's an upgrade Dre's position thing with a better player who contributes more to winning. Yeah, I agree. But until that better player comes along, Draymond's a starter. You want to bench Draymond for the sake of benching Draymond. Who on a team is better than Draymond at power forward? Nobody. There's nobody on the Warriors roster who can take Draymond's spot. So I don't understand the argument you're trying to make. I agree. If someone better than Draymond is on a team, then you bench Draymond. But until that day, Draymond's a starter. I just said like 20 minutes ago, I would prefer for Draymond to be off the bench too. In his ideal situation, Draymond's the first sub off the bench, and that's what it is. But that's not the situation the Warriors are in. There's nobody on the team that's better than Draymond at power forward, period. So until that day happens, Draymond's a starter. When they pass to Dre, he don't score. We get it, bro. And even then, there's still no one on the team that's better than him. So I'm going to move on from that topic. It is what it is, man. Draymond literally was like, Draymond should have been the defensive player of the year. He should have been defensive player of the year. He was a better defender than Evan Mobley, who won it. The value you get from a defensive player of the year caliber player, that's way more valuable than anybody the Warriors got on the team at that position. Nobody on the team is bringing defensive player of the year value to the team. So I don't know what you're talking about, bro. You gotta stop looking at stuff in terms of just scoring. Oh, score. Who's a better scorer? Whoever's a better scorer is a better player. It doesn't work like that, dude. You put a scorer next to Draymond, then it doesn't. Then all of a sudden, his lack of scoring isn't as glaring. The reason why it looks bad is because the center next to Draymond we haven't had a center next to Draymond that can score. So you can't have your power forward and center both be non-scoring threats. But if your center's a scoring threat, then Draymond not being a scoring threat doesn't matter as much because he's doing everything else. In terms of defensively, he's contributing in the playmaking aspect. He's getting the offense organized. So instead of just thinking about, bench Draymond, either one, find a player better than Draymond to bench him, or find a center that can score so it's not as big of a glaring issue. But anyways, I had some other names I wanted to get to in here. So some other targets. Karis LeVert. Karis LeVert, I believe, is a free agent. I think Karis LeVert would be not great. That's not a good word. Karis LeVert would be a solid shot creator / playmaker off the bench in a 6-man role. Basically like a poor man's Jordan Poole without the 3-point shooting. Somebody that can get a bucket. Somebody that can give you some juice getting to the rim. Drive and kick game, playmaking. Karis LeVert can do that. I think he'd be solid. I'm not sure what his market is, to be honest with you. I wouldn't necessarily be trying to get in a bidding war for Karis LeVert. So, yeah. But in terms of like some boxes he checks the box of a scorer, somebody that can get to the rim, somebody who can be a secondary playmaker, who can drive and kick and get guys open in the corners. I think he's an okay defender. I think I'm not sure how he did defensively this season. He switched teams. He got traded to the Hawks, I believe. But I think he's been a solid defender at times. He would be solid, but he wouldn't be necessarily my first, second, or third option in free agency. Because the Warriors honestly have like one big contract. In terms of big contract, I mean like a $12 to $13 million contract to use. And that's it. Outside of that, it's all vet minimums. So they got to be very careful who they use that contract on. Do you want to use that on Karis LeVert, or do you want to use that contract slot to get a big man, like try to pursue Steven Adams, try to get Brook Lopez, try to get like somebody like that? So they got to be careful how they allocate these resources in the offseason, because they only get one swing for a decent size pickup. I see people bringing up Nikola Vucevic. Yeah, I mean, the thing with Vucevic is better than Quentin Post as a player, but Quentin Post's ascension has made the need for Vucevic not as not as appealing because, number one, Vucevic ain't going to be doing all the stuff he does with the Bulls offensively with the Warriors. He ain't about to be posting up on the Warriors all like that. He's mostly going to be used as a floor spacing five that might get the ball on a post if he has a mismatch every now and then. That's what Quinton Post does. Quinton Post is a floor spacing five. You can argue Quinton Post is a better pure shooter than Vucevic. But the difference is Vucevic is an experienced veteran who probably wouldn't fold the way Quinton Post did in the playoffs. So that's the one argument is, you get a vet in there. You have Quinton Post who can get mentored by Vucevic and have a more stabilizing presence from a vet, and that's as a stretch five option versus Post, who quite frankly got played off the court against the T-Wolves. He was a little shaky. He wasn't hitting the shots. He didn't have his legs. He was getting targeted defensively. He couldn't survive. So, that's a problem going forward. Hopefully Quinton Post can kind of shore up some of those weaknesses he displayed against the Timberwolves. Brother Jay said Turner will be a free agent in the offseason. I already talked about Miles Turner earlier. He's not available. The Pacers are not going to let their third best, most important player walk. They're about to go to the finals. They're not letting a key contributor just walk. And on top of that, the Warriors have no chance or no possible way of outbidding other teams for Miles Turner. If Miles Turner was truly available, the Warriors can't even afford him. They literally couldn't hand out the contract that he would command, which is like around $30 million plus per year. The Warriors couldn't even give out that contract, let alone convince the Pacers to let him walk. Like, yeah, he's a free agent, but he's been in Indiana his whole career. He's thriving over there. His team is on their way to the finals. He has that camaraderie with his team. He's a starting center. His spot's secured. He probably has a house in Indiana. Why would he leave all that to sign for half as much, less than half as much to play for Golden State? Doesn't make any sense. Miles Turner is not available, people. Next up, let's talk about Larry Nance Jr. So Larry Nance Jr. is a free agent. I think he'll be a good pickup. Sneaky good pickup. He's a vet big. He can hit an open three. He has some pop at the rim in terms of a vertical threat, and he has defensive chops. He can make plays defensively. He's great. He's one of the best big men in the league defensively in terms of getting steals. He has really quick hands. He can get a block every now and then. I think him next to Draymond and Jimmy Butler as a disruptor, as a defensive playmaker would be amazing. He'll be right there with them getting steals, getting out on a fast break. He's not as athletic as he used to be in his prime, but he is slightly better, more reliable of a shooter to kind of make up for that a little bit. So I think Larry Nance Jr. will be a solid pickup. I think the Warriors will be able to afford him. I mentioned the Warriors have a contract they can give out that's around roughly $12 to $13 million. I think that's how much Larry Nance would go for, the mid-level exception. So the Warriors should be in the conversation for Larry Nance. I think Larry Nance can look around the league and see the Warriors situation as an ideal partnership for him going forward. He's on a Hawks. He's on a Hawks still. He's on a Hawks. Yeah, Hawks or Buns. Come to the Warriors. He'll play next to Steph and Jimmy, next to Draymond defensively. They're gonna make you look really good. He doesn't necessarily like add size. I think he's only 6'7", 6'8". He's a power forward. He can play center in certain lineups as like a small ball center option, but he's not providing size. He's definitely not providing that. But I think he'll be a good pickup, a good depth piece, another option in the front court, a guy that can hit a shot offensively, who's a play finisher at the rim, and defensively, he has instincts. He can make plays. I think he'll be a good pickup. Next up, I want to talk about Malcolm Brogdon. So Malcolm Brogdon's a free agent. I think he'll be a good pickup as the backup point guard, 6'5" combo guard, dribble pass shoot guy. He can hit open shot. He can run the offense, and he can dribble. He can handle the ball. He could be another ball handler. He's pretty strong with the ball in terms of not making a bunch of dumb mistakes. I think and he can also score a little bit. I think his scoring kind of fell off a little bit these past few years as he's getting older. But Brogdon, I think, will be a solid option off the bench. He would just be a steadying presence with the ball in his hands with the second unit. And I think Brogdon would be solid. I think the Warriors should be able to afford him with that contract I mentioned. They should be able to afford him. But you never know. Sometimes teams get thirsty and just overpay just to secure the bidding war for a specific role player. So you never know. What do I think about adding Westbrook off the bench? No, thank you. I don't want Westbrook nowhere near this team, bro. I know Westbrook's like playing decently at times for the Nuggets, but I don't want Westbrook on this team. He makes too many boneheaded mistakes. He's a non-shooter. Too many turnovers. Is he gonna be pouting if he's not closing games? He closes games for the he closes games for the Nuggets most nights, but if he's not closing games, is he pouting? I ain't trying to deal with a Moody Westbrook on the bench. Just like, I'm not trying to deal with that. I don't think he's anywhere near as good enough to warrant the possible like headache and locker room stuff and the boneheaded mistakes he makes. I'm cool. I'd rather just not even have Westbrook on the team. Because like, what does Westbrook do better than Pods? What does Westbrook definitively do better than Pods on the basketball court? I can't think of a single thing that Westbrook, for a fact, that you can say definitively he is better than Pajimski at this thing. I just don't. I'd literally rather just play Pods. Like, I know Pods had a rough series, but I'd rather just play Pods, to be honest with you. Let's see, who else we got? Somebody mentioned Andre Drummond on the other stream. I didn't get to him. I'm not an Andre Drummond guy. I know he's like one of the greatest rebounders of all time in NBA history. So and he's a big dude, 6'10", 6'11", but he would not be able to run the Warriors offense. He's not a play finisher, and he obviously can't shoot. So offensively, he's not. The offensive rebounding is what he provides, and you could probably, I don't know, I don't think you can get him for the vest minimum. He might be one of those players that's slightly above the vest minimum in terms of like value. If it was for the vest minimum, possibly, maybe, if the Warriors really couldn't get nobody else, maybe. But playing Drummond next to Draymond, those lineups probably wouldn't look too good, to be honest with you. Yeah, I don't know about Drummond. Let's see. I would still offer TJD plus 2 firsts for Gogo Batadze. Look, I want Goga, but I'm not giving up 2 first round picks for a center who might not close games. That is borderline insane. You're basically blowing your load on Goga Batadze, bro. Like, all your ammo for a potential trade for a star. If you trade 2 first round picks for Goga, how much better does that actually make you on the court? And then when your team is still probably not good enough after that trade, you can't even like contend. You can't even make another trade for a star that becomes available. Oh, seconds. Yeah, if it's seconds, then yeah, I'm all for it. But why would the Magic make that trade? I don't think the Magic care about second round picks. They're trying to get they have a bunch of young dudes. They're trying to take their young dudes to the next level and get them into that playoff, the playoff bracket. They're trying to do what the Pacers are doing. The Pacers got, they got Tyrese Halliburton, their young star. Their team is quickly ascending every year. They're getting better and better. They're trying to do that. They're not trying to like haul second round picks and turn these second round picks into like borderline prospects that may they're not. They've been doing that the past like 5, 6, 7, however many years. They're trying to get their young dudes they already have to the next level, and they're trying to add vets that can help. So TJD, so they're downgrading from Goga to TJD. And then they're adding 2 second round picks where it's like, okay, whoop-de-doo, 2 second round picks. I don't think that trade works. GP2 fan for life said Malik Beasley. Beasley would be a good pickup, but I don't see any reason why he would leave Detroit. He literally just revived his career with Detroit. Why would he walk away from that? Maybe he just admires Steph as a shooter and he wants to just play next to Steph and he can envision himself in that Klay Thompson role offensively. Just, I'm like the new, because if you see Malik Beasley talking on social media, he's a very confident dude. He probably, in his mind, he's probably like, yo, me next to Steph, I could be like Klay Thompson 2.0. I could do all these things. So maybe, you know what, maybe he thinks that maybe he might want to come to the Bay, but I don't foresee him leaving Detroit when he has like a legit role there. The biggest role he's had on the team probably his entire career. So, and he led the league in 3-pointers made this season with the Detroit Pistons. So he has a huge role with them. So I don't see why he would leave that to roll the dice on to just change teams just because it's not like the Warriors can just outbid the Pistons. Like, I don't think the Pistons are trying to let Malik Beasley walk away for nothing. So if it came down to it, the Pistons would just match the Warriors' offer. Brother Jay said Larry Nance is too slow, too old. Bro, here's one thing about, and look, I'm not singling you out particularly, Brother Jay. I'm just saying in general, Warriors fans, there's one thing I realized, bro, and I noticed. Warriors fans, y'all turn y'all nose up to an awful lot of options when the Warriors don't have the resources to be picky. Like, there's a lot, like, it's kind of crazy to me. I talked about Al Horford probably 2 streams ago. And then it was so many people in the stream like, nah, he's old. Nah, don't. No thanks to Al Horford. No thanks. I'm like, bro, do y'all watch Celtics games? Al Horford's still a good player. Yeah, he's old, but he's still a good player. He's a center that can hit an open shot. He can legitimately space the floor. He's a good 3-point shooter. He's a solid front court passer in terms of like running your off. He would be perfect in the Warriors offense. Perfect. He's still a solid defender. He's not like this dominant rim protector, but he still can move his feet defensively, and he could play within a defensive ecosystem and be a cog. You put him next to Draymond, who's covering up. The Warriors were just the number 1 defense since the All-Star break. And that's with Quinton Post playing 20 minutes. That's with TJD sprinkled in there. That's with Looney sprinkled in there at center. Al Horford's a better defensive player than everybody I just mentioned. He's a better defensive player than Post, Looney, and TJD. If you put him in there next to Draymond defensively, that's an upgrade. And he can hit a 3-point. He can hit an open shot. He can pass the ball. And he's just a smart vet that has playoff and championship experience. But I brought him up two streams ago, and Warriors fans turned y'all nose up to him. Y'all are like, nope, too old. Nah, not happening. It's not like he's like an old player that's always injured. Like he's usually available. Like he's not an injury prone player. So it's like, how are we so picky when the Warriors don't have any financial leeway to have the pick of the litter? They can just go into free agency and just have like they could pick anybody they want, any center option. They're first in the line, bro. They're last in every line, damn near for every free agent. The Warriors are more than likely always going to have the least amount to offer and a more fluctuating role because Draymond plays that center a lot. The Warriors aren't a team that utilizes their center position that much. So as a center, you're looking at the Warriors. You're like, okay, I'm taking less money, and my role is not going to be it's not going to be set in stone every night. Why would I go to the Warriors? And then Warriors fans turn around and they want to be picky about all these options. It's like, bro, you're going to say no to a player that can shoot, that can play defense, that can pass the ball at the center position. Come on, bro. And now, right now, y'all saying, oh, Larry Nance, too slow, too old. Larry Nance is better than every big on our roster besides Draymond. So it's just like, okay, like, I don't know, man. It's just, y'all, it's a lot of pickiness, man. A lot of I don't know. Y'all got to kind of open your eyes up to reality, bro. When's the last time the Warriors signed like some huge free agent that was a center? Why do you think that is? Financial constraints and lack of a defined role. So what gives us the right to be picky? You got to take the best you can get. Larry Nance Jr. is one of the best options available for what the Warriors can afford. So if Larry Nance ain't good enough, man, I don't know. Same thing with Brook Lopez. I talked about Brook Lopez 2 streams ago. Dudes were saying the same thing. Oh, he's too old. No thanks to Brook Lopez. No thanks. You're going to say no to Brook Lopez? Really? Who on the Warriors at the center position, besides Draymond, is better than Brook Lopez? And you're going to say no to Brook Lopez because he's old? All right, bro. I guess. I guess, man. Who's the options, though? And then you ask them what options. All right, who would you rather have? Oh, give me Miles Turner. The Warriors can afford Miles Turner. It's like, come on, man. Like, come on, like Warriors fans, come on. We all in this together, man. I love the fandom. I love the passion, but come on, we gotta be a little realistic sometimes, bro. Let's see. I have some other names on here. How y'all feeling about? Oh, all right. I got a curveball name for y'all. It's gonna be controversial. How would y'all feel about Chris Middleton as a free agent? Everybody in the chat, let me know right now. How would y'all feel about Chris Middleton? Yes or no? I'm trying to see something. Looks like the majority is saying no. So here's the thing with Chris Middleton. The reason I bring him up is because his health, his lower body's probably a little cooked, I ain't gonna lie. And that's the only reason why he might be obtainable in terms of a financial, in terms of like the Warriors, in terms of the Warriors being able to afford him. Chris Middleton has been cooked in Milwaukee, but that's the reason why he's not in Milwaukee anymore. That's the reason why they traded him. Now the thinking would be, now he's affordable. Can the Warriors get him as a buy low 8 free agent signing? They have a good medical team. Can they rehab him and get him through the regular season and help win a championship? Can you sign Chris Middleton for like that MLE situation with the contract, that $12 million, and you bring him along slow? You bring him off the bench. You play him 22 to 25 minutes a game. Never plays back-to-backs. And you just monitor his knee situation. You get him through the regular season. And then you hope come playoff time, he's good to go. He survives. He's in one piece, and you make a run with him as your 6th man. Now, I'm not saying sign Chris Middleton to some crazy contract and guarantee all these years and make him a starter. I'm saying, can the Warriors sign him as a 6th man, as a buy low candidate, and try and bank on their medical team to rehab him? If, theoretically, let's just say he's just not the player he was like 3 years ago, but you can still get him healthy enough to where he could be on the court and give you 75% of what he was, or 65% of what he was as a 6th man. That wouldn't be too bad off the bench. He's not a guy that's a 3-level scorer. He can get to a shot in the mid-range. He can hit wide open shots. He's a playmaker. He's a passer. He has length defensively, even though he's not a good defender anymore. He's cooked, but I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. Now, I wouldn't do that. I think that's just too risky because, like I said, his knees, his lower body is kind of cooked. But I was just throwing it out there just to test the waters to kind of see where y'all heads is at. Because I haven't seen anybody talk about Chris Middleton, and I was looking at the free agency list earlier, and it said he's a free agent. So that's why I wanted to bring him up. But yeah, so looks like most of y'all are saying nah. But yeah, let's see. There's a few other names I want to talk about. A few other shooters, because the Warriors need shooting. We've seen that. A few other shooters the Warriors can look at is Taurean Prince and Duncan Robinson. Taurean Prince shot 44% from three on 4.2 3-point attempts a game. Duncan Robinson shot 39% last year on 6.5 attempts per game. Both 6'7", 6'8" wings. Both are near 40% three-point shooters. Both are Swiss cheese defensively. But they could be had for the vest minimum as just shooters to have on a roster. You know? Gary Trent. I would like Gary Trent. Gary Trent off the bench. That'd be pretty solid. He's a shooter. He has a little more juice off the dribble than just a pure shooter. He has a pulse defensively. He's not like a lockdown defender, but he has a pulse. Gary Trent would be okay. I think he likes it in Minnesota. I think he likes it in Milwaukee though. I don't see why he would come to the Warriors. But so yeah, we got old friend Alec Burks. Alec Burks is a free agent as a six-man scorer off the bench. That might be somebody to look at for the vest minimum. Let's see. We covered most of these dudes. Oh yeah. How y'all feel about Drew Holiday in a trade? How would y'all feel about pursuing Drew Holiday in a trade? By the way, if you haven't already, everybody, please like the video. It helps the algorithm. It helps the channel grow. And the channel growing is a good thing. So just, that's all I ask. Just like the video if you're having a good time with me. And I appreciate y'all for spending y'all Sunday with me. Thank you, man. I appreciate y'all. But yeah, how do y'all feel about, who was I was talking about? Yeah, how would y'all feel about Drew Holiday? I think Drew Holiday would be, Mr. Level said, too expensive. Let me see how much Drew Holiday is making. I actually don't remember how much he's making. Let's see. Drew Holiday. Oh, God. Why is this motherfucker not popping up? All right. So Drew Holiday is making. Oh, damn. Damn. All right, Drew Holiday's making, he's currently 34 years old. He's making 32 mil next season, then 35, and then 37. So, and that's a player option. So at 37 years old, he's going to be making $37 million and it's a player option. Woo! I don't know about that one. Sheesh. Yeah, I don't know about that one. That one might be a little tough, bro. I mean, he ain't cooked. He's not cooked. He's still a good player. He's still a good defender. He will be perfect on the Warriors for this season. It's just that contract. I didn't know his contract was that long. I thought he was like coming up on free agency soon. I didn't know he was getting paid 3 more seasons. That's kind of crazy. Damn, he finessed the Celtics. How'd he put? I mean, I guess he had all the leverage. They had to re-sign him. But damn, he put a fast one. That's crazy. But yeah, yeah. He said this season he looked cooked. Yeah, he definitely regressed. He wasn't as good as last season. But I think he's still a good player. And I think he will look great next to Steph and Jimmy. But yeah, man, that contract's a little that contract's a little too much for me. That's kind of insane that the Celtics got bent over like that in negotiation. But let's see what else we got on here. Okay. That was for the most part my list, my free agency and trade target list. We're going on an hour and 25 minutes, y'all. Is there anything else? Is there any other last minute questions? I'm gonna just call it right here. Any other questions? All right. Anyways, that's all I got for y'all. I appreciate y'all for coming through, man. I'm gonna sign off. I will make a part 3 for the off season. As news comes out, I'll make more content. So I'll see y'all soon. And don't forget to like the video.